My name is Lawson White, and this is Bailing, Scaling and Barbecue. Join me on hunting, fishing and cooking adventures. Growing up out west was a privilege where I learned to hunt and fish through my father. In the early days I would hunt and fish and gather with my father, learning how to skin, gut, fillet, how to tie and the basics of hunting and fishing. My father and my brothers were pivotal in my education of learning of hunting and fishing, ethical and the right way of doing things. Righto, here's the lads from BSB. Let's get in some action. Note that the pups here are very young and still have only seen one or two pigs, with one or two older dogs. Here's Cody Cronin and Connor White out on the Northern Territory floodplains. Walking along this billabong, we see another good mob of pigs with a couple of big boars amongst them. We're sneaking up on them, but there's too much pig sign and too much scent on the ground for the dogs to pick up where the mob are, out in the middle of the lagoon. Let's find out if we can get these pigs and watch how the boys work the guns and watch the dogs at the same time.
Shoot! Shoot! Whitey, get him! I'm out of bullets. Where's your spear? Get him, come on, get him! No, get your spear. Yeah.
side where the dogs aren't. Quick, go in now. Quick, straight in behind that leg.
Here we go. We've got a nice big western boar. We're trying to get the station hand to get in there as fast as we can, but you're struggling to find the opportunity to get that spear, and Connor takes over and dispatches the animals quick at speed. Remember, number one rule of pigging, remember back your mates up as fast as you can. Your dogs catch the pigs, your job is to dispatch that animal as fast as you possibly can.
Welcome sports fans to BSB. We're going to talk about shooting in a rifle. This is a Ruger 270 I use for culling deer with a 12 power fixed Leopold on it. On the top here you have your altitude and then your sideways elevation here. What we're going to do is 3 shots and there must be, not freehand, must be from a good resting point. 3 shots and look at grouping. Most important is your trigger pressure and know what load you're using. This bit 270, I use 48 grains of 2209, pushing 150 grain Hornady pill. That seems to work. But it's been shooting out a bit, so we need to true it in. Let's see how we go. Before we discuss some points about shooting a gun in, just to give you a couple of basics around different barrel usages. This is the 270 with a stainless matte finish and just a sporting barrel. So the barrel life on that is not too long, but key points are it won't rust and it's nice and light. As opposed to, this is a professional setup for Ruse 223 in a Ruger, and this is the bull barrel. Doesn't heat up as quick, so you get more barrel life, and it's also floating. Now the key point out of a floating barrel, especially when you're shooting, is do not touch it. It will throw your shots, and the way to check and make sure you haven't got any dust or crap down there is to run a bit of paper down along between the stock and the barrel. And that's just, you can do it like this, a bit of tobacco paper or the Country Life. You slide it down there and make sure there's a gap. That's how it slides through easy enough. So the key tip is, this is not for running around the paddock with, trying to kill things. This is just out of the front, out of the side. It's floating. Do not touch it when it shoots. It will not heat up as quick. It will maintain. It won't throw out shots as quick. So, as I said, we can't shoot freehand to shoot a rifle in. It's the best of three, concentrating on your trigger pressure and also making sure your target's nice and clear. It's no good shooting at a piece of bark. Either must be a bit of cardboard or a black mark on a bit of tin to make sure you know exactly where that projectile's gone. So here we go. To the left, high left. That's our target. And here's where we've hit. And you can see we've got consistent grouping, which means I'm not pulling the shots. So the gun's shooting consistently. So we have to pull it across to the right, which is an easy fix. 2 inches here at 30 to 50 metres will probably be a couple of feet out at 250, 300 metres. Right, so we've had a couple of shots to get our grouping, so now we've got to fine tune the gun. It's shooting to the left, so we've got to move the scope a couple of clicks to the right. We've taken off the cover here on the sideways elevation. 10-cent piece, washer, doesn't matter. Just put him in and just slide him around. There we have it, and then you recheck it. Remember, if the gun's not shooting accurate, you might as well take a Shanghai, because it's absolutely useless. Right, so we pretty much shot this 270 in. At the end of the day, I'll go over the key points again. First of all is safety. Bolt is up or bolt is out. Barrel's facing up or barrel's facing down. The second point is make sure you've got quality gear. You know what the gun is, you know your trigger pressure. You have a scope, the reticles do not move. The other point is around your barrel, make sure your barrel's been cleaned and it's not full of shit. Also make sure if you have you've got a floating barrel, you don't touch it, little key points like that, because you'll throw your shots. Make sure when you're using your projectiles for reloads, you know what you're using. As I said before, I've told you what's in this, so whatever you're using, be it 223, 250, whatever. And at the end of the day, it comes down to you and what you do, and this is the key point. It's your trigger finger. If you're pulling your shots, you're not going to hit nothing. It's the nut behind the butt. And that's it. And remember, the key point of the day, safety. Make sure you're safe at all times. Thanks.
Next time on BSB, we've got Whitey doing some cooking. We've got the boys up north doing some fishing. We'll also do a little bit more pigging up in northern New South Wales with Big Davo. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe to YouTube and like us on Instagram and follow us. Plenty of tips and tricks. Cheers guys.